Hey, Santiago here, and we're just going to go through the Bible here and talk about it. There's not enough people doing it. There's not enough people understanding it. It's a complicated book because there's so much put into each individual sentence. And the book is very puzzle-like. Many things you have to read different books to get the full understanding. But I want to start here with Genesis. So, the account of creation. It says, Genesis 1, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. In the beginning, God created the heavens, plural, and the earth, singular. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep waters. So the earth had no real shape, and it was empty. There was nothing there. It was dark, covering the deep waters. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. What do we know about Spirit of God? Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was hovering over the waters. So he says the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters, but he just said the earth was formless and empty, but it had water. Then God said, let there be light. And there was light. Now pay attention because this is going to almost contradict in a minute. And God saw that the light was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day and the darkness night. And evening passed and morning came, marking the first day. First day is done. We have a formless earth, and we have water, deep water. We have darkness, and in the introduction of light. Now, we can't think about light as in light bulb or the sun. We have to engage our brains. I am the light. New Testament, right? I am the light, the way, the truth. Then God said, let there be a space between the waters to separate the water of the heavens from the waters of the earth. That means there's water up there and there's water down here on earth, right? Water up there, water down here. And that is what happened. God made this space to separate the waters from the earth and the waters from the heavens. God called the space sky. And evening passed and morning came, marking the second day. Doesn't really matter first day, second day, third day, fourth day. Don't think 24 hours, 12 hours. Oh, I got to work 8 hours. I got to work 40 hours. That's not a day. That's not what God's talking about. We're just talking about chronological order. Then God said, let the waters beneath the sky flow together into one place, so dry ground may appear. And that is what happened. Then God said, I'm repeating, then God said, let the waters beneath the sky, the water down here, flow together in one place. So it's connecting, right? So dry ground may appear. If dry ground may appear, that water has to come down and collect into one space. Doesn't say a circle space, doesn't say a lake, an ocean. It says an area. Then God called the dry ground land and the water seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let land sprout with vegetation, every sort of seed-bearing plant and trees that grow seed-bearing fruit. These seeds will then produce the kinds of plants and trees from which they came. And that is what happened. The land produced vegetation, all sorts of seed-bearing plants and trees with seed-bearing fruit. Their seeds produced plants and trees of the same kind. Apple trees produce apples. Pear trees produce pears. Banana trees produce bananas. Plantains produce, it's probably still a banana, right? But we'll see through where we are today that man has put his hands on everything and cross-contaminated. Well, let me see if I can cross a pear and an apple and get this new fruit. I want to create a new fruit. God's fruit's not good enough. I got to create something different, something better that I think is better. Then God said, let lights, listen, we're coming back now. Then God said, let lights appear in the sky to separate the day from night. Let them be signs to mark the seasons, days, and years. Let these lights in the sky shine down on earth. And that is what happened. God made two great lights, the larger one to govern the day and the smaller to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set these lights in the sky to light the earth, to govern day and night and separate the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and this passing came to mark the fourth day. So now he's talking about sun, moon, stars in the sky. But what about the light that was in 1:3? Then God said, let there be light. See, this is where we have to pay attention, use your brain and think. If you have all the distractions of this world in your head, you can't look at this word and make sense of it. The original light, I believe, would be Jesus. Remember, all of this is already, heaven is already established. Heavens has already been established. There's a lot already going on up there, right? Jesus is already there. The Holy Spirit is already there. Everything is already up in heaven. He's creating the earth. This is the story of creation of the earth. This is not the story of the creation of the spirit realm, heavens, hell. This is not that creation story. Therefore, something already existed. A lot already existed well before our human bodies here on earth. In the beginning of this book of Genesis, when he talks about the light, which I refer to as Jesus, and then he talks about the Spirit of God within the same two paragraphs, this is the introduction of the Trinity. Then God said, let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Let the waters swarm with fish. I'm tucking my keys into my pocket. With fish and other with fish and other life. I almost said light. Then God said, let the water swarm. I mean, swarm isn't 1 or 2 or 100 or 1,000. It's swarming. You ever see a swarm of mosquitoes, a swarm of bees, a swarm of birds? Let the water swarm with fish and other life. Let the skies be filled with birds of every kind. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that scurries and swarms in the water, and every sort of bird, each producing offspring of the same kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply. He's talking to the creatures. Be fruitful and multiply. Let the fish fill the seas and let the birds multiply on the earth. And everything passed and morning came, marking the fifth day. Now he talks about the waters being very deep. He talks about water up high and down low. He talks about the waters coming together in one place. He talks about the waters going down so the earth can come up. He talks about fish. He says, let the waters swarm with fish and other life. Now this could be vegetation, plant life. I don't know why he wouldn't just say that versus saying other life. And then he calls them fish and creatures in the water. It makes sense with what is going on today in this world. There's a lot of things that we don't know. Humans think we know everything. We know very little. Then God said, let the earth produce every sort of animal, each producing offspring of the same kind. Livestock, small animals that scurry, and wild animals. That is what happened. God made all sorts of animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. Apple tree, apples. Pear tree, pears. Cats, cats. Dogs, dogs. And he's supposed to be dog and cat. Dog and bird. No. But here we are today in 2025, and man is putting his hands on things that he should not be putting his hands on and turning creatures into something else. And if you don't have permission to do this from God, goodness and evil. And that is what happened. God made all sorts of animals, livestock, and small animals, each able to produce offspring of the same kind. Then God said, let us make human. Then God said, let us. God is in heaven. Let us make human beings in our own image to be like us. Who's he talking to? The Spirit of God, the light, all the other beings, the Elohim, which we haven't come to yet, but the Elohim that are up there in heavens. They, the human beings, they will reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, and all the wild animals on earth, and the small animals that scurry on the ground. So God created human beings in his own image. In the image of God, he created them, male and female. He created them. Then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Reproduce. Be fruitful and multiply. He doesn't say, if you want to, if you think it's okay, if you're in the mood to, if you're okay with it. No, he says, then God blessed them and said, be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and govern it. Govern means rule it, be in charge of it, manage it. take care of it. Reign over the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, and all the animals that scurry. Then God said, look! Exclamation point. I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals, the birds in the sky, and the small animals along the ground, everything that has life, and that is what happened. Now, some people, it really doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know. That's between you and God, us and God. But it says, then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. And I have given every green plant as food for all the wild animals. He doesn't say I gave you all these creatures to eat. He says, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all that. I eat meat. I do. But it's not biblical. Then, at least not at this point, then God looked over all he had made and saw that it was good. And that marked the end of the sixth day. About to wrap this up. The importance of this is I've had these conversations with meat eaters, vegetarians, vegans, and they say it's not biblical. Well, it wasn't biblical in the beginning. But as we progress later on into the New Testament, even in the Old Testament, God does in fact feed his people with meat. We should not grab can't remember the word I'm looking for, one piece of the book and say, hey, this is this, without going through the entire book. Because it's not completely contradictory, but God later explains why he does what he does, when he does it, and how he did it, and why he did it. And without that knowledge, people stick to it and say, hey, God said just eat plants. I read Genesis. Well, at least I read the first page. That is Genesis chapter 1. We'll do chapter 2 next.